Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today.
So children, let us start a lesson today in standard 8th. The subject is English, and today we will not be doing a new lesson, children, because we have completed all the lessons that we have to do for the first term. So what do we do now? Let us go back and revise certain things that we have learnt this year in English. And in English, when we talk about something which is a little difficult for us and some point which requires a little bit of revision, it is what? It is in grammar. So today also we are going to do a revision lesson in grammar, and I have picked up the topic pronouns to revise with you. So we have been learning about pronouns, and we have been learning about the other parts of speech also for so long. So we know what are pronouns. Pronouns are words that are used instead of the noun. So come on, let's go and learn this lesson based on pronoun. So like I told you, we will start by doing a small, you can say, revision about what pronouns are. So now pronouns are related very closely to nouns. Alright, now what are nouns we have been learning since we were in the lower classes? So nouns are naming words. So there are certain situations where you cannot use the naming words again and again. So in such situations, we make use of words which are used instead of these naming words, and those kind of words are called as pronouns. So here in this picture, you will be able to see some examples of pronouns. So you have my, your, his, her, its, our, their. Okay, all these are examples of pronouns. So what are pronouns? Pronouns are words which are used instead of nouns, or we can say that pronouns replace the nouns. Now pronouns also can be of different types. For example, see the first kind of pronoun here. It is a picture of a girl. So when we are talking about a girl, you use the pronoun she, or you could use the pronoun her, depending on how the sentence is. When you're talking about a number of people, okay, you say them or you say they. A number of people, a group of people. When you're talking about an object, that is when you're talking about something which is not living, then you use the pronoun it. Okay, so depending on the situation and depending on the gender of the person and depending on whether the person is living or whether the object is, whether it is an object, that is whether it is living or non-living, depending on whether it is singular or whether it is plural, we use different types of pronouns. Okay, so pronouns are what? They are words that replace nouns. So these are all the pronouns that we use in our daily life. These are the more, you can say, common ones. So you say I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. These are all examples of pronouns that we use in our lives on a daily basis. I here is a personal pronoun. You, he, she, it, all these are different types of pronouns. Now children, in the beginning of the lesson I told you that we are going to learn about different types of pronouns. But before that, let us see what are all the types of pronouns that we have. So we have basically 8 types of pronouns. Now children, in this particular lesson, we will not look at all these types. The reason is that our textbook and our syllabus at this stage, the demand is that we look at 3 types of pronouns only. But Let us look at the names of all the pronouns that we have here on the screen for you. So you have demonstrative pronouns, you have relative pronouns, which we are going to talk about today. So demonstrative pronouns in detail we will see today. Relative pronoun also in detail we will see today. We have indefinite pronouns. So indefinite means what? Indefinite means when the thing that you're talking about or the person that you're talking about is not specific. It is indefinite. Then we use an indefinite pronoun. Then we have the interrogative pronoun. We are going to talk about that in detail today. Possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns means to show possession or to show ownership. Alright. Then you have a reflective pronoun. Okay. So pronouns where you use the word self or selves at the end is a reflective pronoun. Then you have intensive pronoun. Intensive pronoun means to add emphasis, to make it more intense. And finally we have personal pronouns. Okay, but like I told you, in this lesson we will be talking about demonstrative pronouns, we will be talking about relative pronouns and interrogative pronouns in detail. So come on, gear yourself up to learn more about these three types of pronouns. The remaining types, whenever there is a demand in our syllabus or whenever they are part of any lessons, we will definitely do them also. So our very first type of pronoun for today is the demonstrative pronoun. Here you can see 4 boys, and you can see that these 4 boys are talking about apples, but 2 of them are talking about more than 1 apple, that is 4 apples, and 2 of them are talking about 1 apple each. So let us talk about these boys who are talking about 1 apple each. So see, both the boys in the center, the one in the red shirt and the one in the purple shirt, they are both talking about 1 single apple. But the boy in the red shirt is saying this and the boy in the purple shirt is saying that, but the apple is 1. Now take a look at the arrows which are there in the middle. The arrows. So the boy who's saying this to the apple, there the arrow is short, a small arrow. Whereas the boy who's saying that to the apple, there we have a longer arrow. Okay? So see, both the boys are talking about 1 single apple, but the apple is closer to the boy in the red t-shirt. So what is he saying? He's saying this apple. This is used for anything which is lying closer to you, close by. Okay? And that is used for anything which is lying a little bit far away. But remember, here this and that is used for single things, singular. 1 apple, singular. When it is close to you, you will say this apple. When it is far away from you, you will say that apple. Okay? So hope the idea is clear. Let's come to the other 2 boys now. The one with the brown hair and the one with the golden hair. Or we can say the one in the half pant and the other one in the full pant. So the one in the half pant is also talking about 4 apples. And the one with the full pant is also talking about 4 apples. But Mr. Half Pant is saying those apples. And Mr. Full Pant is saying these apples. Why are they saying that? Because you get the arrow again. The arrows which is pointing to those is longer and the arrow which is pointing to these is shorter. That means that when we talk about plural, that is when we talk about more than one thing which is far away from us, then we say those. And when we talk about plural, but which are close to us, we say these. So if there are 4 apples lying very close to you, you will say these apples, and when there are apples which are lying far away from you, you will say those apples. Is this idea also clear to you? These and those. So these are examples of demonstrative pronouns. This, that, these, those. Now since you know the example, I'm sure you know the meaning also. So let us try and understand the meaning of a demonstrative pronoun. So demonstrative pronouns are used to show. Show means to point out. Okay, not to reveal. Show can also mean to reveal. Something is hidden and you are showing it. Not that show. Here showing means to point out or identify one or a number of nouns. So one means singular, number of nouns means plural, which may be far or near. So if it is far, then you say those and you say that. If it is near, you say this. Okay, and you say these. So we saw that in the example. So now the definition is easier for you to understand, isn't it? And these are the demonstrative pronouns. This, that, these, those. So when we talk about demonstrative pronouns, there are 2 things that you should remember. One is what will you say for singular and plural, and second thing is what will you say for far and near. So we will do 2 exercises, children, based on both these examples or both these points. Okay, so hope the idea of demonstrative pronoun is clear to you. So can we move on and can we see some exercises? So see here, these are some more examples of demonstrative pronoun. So this is my chair. This means it is close to me. And I'm pointing out to the chair and saying that this is my chair. That is not my chair. This is my chair. That is Peter's house. That is Peter's house and not this. Okay? So Peter's house is a little far away. These are her clothes. The ones which are lying here, these are her clothes. Those are migrating birds. So migrating birds means birds which fly away from a particular place to another place. So those birds, the birds which you can see flying away, those birds are migrating birds. Okay? So what do demonstrative pronouns do? They identify someone or something. That means they point out to someone or something. Okay? So hope the idea is clear now. So can we move on to do the exercises? I told you we will do 2 kinds of exercises. One based on singular and plural and the other based on nearness or farness. Okay? So this is the exercise based on singular and plural. Is dash my drink? Now there are certain things you should look at and pay attention to here. In this particular sentence, see the drink. So is it drink or is it drinks? Yes, it is a drink. So that means it is singular. And look at the is. Is it is or is it are? So remember, when there is one, you use is. When there is more than one, you use are. Okay? So is this an example of singular or plural according to you? Yes, it should be an example of singular because we are using drink and not drinks, and we are using is and not are. So the answer will be this. Is this my drink? Next, dash aren't my trainers. So see, you're using are here as in are not, and you're using trainers here, not trainer. Okay, so these aren't my trainers. Next, is dash an interesting museum? An, see an. Okay, is museum. There are so many clues which will tell you whether the sentence is talking about a singular thing or something which is plural, and it will also tell you which one you should use. Should you use this or should you use these? Yes, you should use this in this particular case. Dash are new bikes. These are new bikes. You can also say those, okay, if they are far away. But remember, here we are talking about singular and plural. So we are not going to bother about distance. So I have written these. Even those will be correct. Dash is my house. This is my house. So these are all examples of demonstrative pronouns. There are 4 more examples. Like I told you, try to find out the answers to this, and I'm sure if you watch this video carefully, if you listen to what I'm saying carefully, you will be able to write these answers in a jiffy. That is, quickly you will be able to write these answers. Okay, so dash is a hill. Dash are donkeys. What is dash? Did you drop dash? Okay, so figure out what the answers could be. This is part of your assignment or your homework. Let's move on and let's do the next exercise here based on distance. So, dash is a computer game. Now, before I tell you anything else, I want you to look at the arrows. So, some places there are closer, small arrows. Some places there are longer arrows. So, places where the arrows are small, it means it is closer to you. Places where the arrows are longer, it means the objects are far away from you. Okay, so this is a clue for you. So come on, let's start answering the questions. Dash is a computer. This is a computer. It is singular. So you say this. It is close. So you say this. If it was far, you would have said yes. You would have said that. Okay, so this is a computer game. Look at the next one. Those are lorries. Those. Why? Because they are far off also. And they are 2 lorries. So you say those are lorries. This is a camera. That is a camera. Sorry, why? Because the camera is far away. The arrow is long. Next. This is a kite. Why this? Because it is singular. Alright children, now the remaining answers, try and see what you will write. So this one, it will be footballs, but the footballs are close by. Okay, because the arrow is small. So what will you write? You will write these are footballs. What about watches? They are plural, there are 2 and they are far. The pen is 1 and near. The duster is 1 and far. The chairs are 2 and near. So whatever is single and close to you, you will say this. Whatever is single and far away from you, you will say that. Whatever is plural and close to you, you will say these. And whatever is plural and far away from you, you will say those. Okay? So the remaining part of this exercise is for you all to do. Let's move on quickly to the next part or the next type of pronoun, and that is relative pronoun. Now children, when you study about a relative pronoun and when you study about the next kind of pronoun, that is interrogative pronoun, you might get a little confused. Okay, when you look at examples of relative pronouns and when you look at examples of interrogative pronouns, you will start wondering that what is the difference? They are the same. We use who, which, what for relative pronoun also. We use and who, which, what for this also, for the interrogative pronoun also. So what is the difference? That you will wonder. But after you read and understand and study this part of the lesson properly by paying attention to the video, the doubt will be cleared. Okay? So when we talk about relative pronoun, children, there is one more idea that I will tell you about, and that is what is the meaning of a relative clause. Without understanding relative clause, you might not understand relative pronoun, and then you will get confused that why is who a relative pronoun also and why is who an interrogative pronoun also. So to clear this doubt, we will be also talking about what are relative clauses. Okay, so come on, let's start by reading the meaning of the relative pronoun. So relative pronouns are used to join or relate two different clauses together. So when you want to join two clauses together, you make use of a relative pronoun. What are clauses, children? Clauses are parts of sentences. So clauses can be main clauses also, and they could be dependent clauses also, isn't it? So relative pronouns join one clause to another. So it is like a glue which joins one clause to another. So these are all examples of relative pronouns. Who, what, which, whom, whose, that. These are all examples of relative pronouns. When we see the examples, you will understand this better. Let me also tell you that when we see what the meaning of relative clause is, also you will understand this better. So come on, let's move to one more definition of a relative pronoun. So a relative pronoun is a pronoun that introduces a relative clause. Okay? So because it introduces a relative clause, it is called as a relative pronoun. Why is it called relative? Because it relates to the word that it modifies. The word, what word does this modify? The pronoun modifies the noun, isn't it? So this particular word or pronoun is called as a relative pronoun because it relates or it connects to the noun that it modifies. Confused? I will clear the confusion when I explain what is a relative clause and show you examples also. So let us see what a relative clause is. You cannot understand the meaning of relative pronouns without understanding the meaning of relative clauses. Okay? So see, a relative clause is a clause which gives extra information about the noun without starting another sentence. So remember this. If you want some extra information about the noun, but you do not want to write another sentence, so you continue that particular sentence using a relative pronoun. Let's see some examples. They caught the man who spied for China. Okay? Look at the sentence. So they caught the man. Which man did they catch? The man who spied for China. So I could have made this into two sentences also. They caught the man. The man had spied for China. I could have written two sentences here, but I chose not to, and I added a clause there by introducing a relative pronoun, and so I made it they caught the man. This is the main clause, who spied for China. Okay, so this is the relative clause. Let us look at the next example. I lost the map. The main clause, I lost the map. And what is a noun in the main clause? It is the map, which is a noun. So which map did I lose? Which she gave me. So I did not lose the map which I had with me already. I lost the map which she gave me. So I'm specifying about the map. I'm giving more information about the map. Okay? So here, which she gave me is the relative clause. Moving on. Festivals are days when people are happy. Okay? Let us now try to see which are the relative clauses. So see here, they caught the man is the main clause, and who spied for China is the relative clause. And this particular relative clause starts with the relative pronoun who. Okay? So see, what is the job of the pronoun who here? It is not to ask a question, but It is to talk more about the man. It is to introduce the relative clause. Okay? So remember these points when we talk about the next kind of pronoun. I lost the map which she gave me. So which map did I lose? Which she gave me. So we are starting the relative clause with which, and that is a relative pronoun in this case. Festivals are days. Festivals are days when people are happy. Okay? So when is the relative clause in the relative pronoun in this particular relative clause? So what are relative pronouns? Relative pronouns are those pronouns which introduce the relative clauses. The same words can also be interrogative pronouns. We will talk about them when we come to the next part of the lesson. But I want you to have a clear idea about these particular words and why they are called as relative pronouns in these particular examples. Okay? Moving on. Let us look at some examples now. I'm sure the idea is clear to you. So who, whom, whose, which, that, whoever, what, whomever, whatever, whichever, etc. are all examples of relative pronouns. Let us look at some examples now. A button is something dash closes a jacket. So which or that closes a jacket. A button is something that closes a jacket. We can also use which here, okay? A park is a place where we can have a picnic. An actor is a person who performs in films. A camera is something that takes pictures. A gym is a place where we can play basketball. The remaining children is your work, your assignment. Evidence is something dash helps us solve a mystery. So which is the pronoun that you will write here? Think about it and write it. Okay? Let us see one more exercise on relative pronouns. Mr. Richards dash is a taxi driver, lives here. So which relative pronoun will you use? Who is a taxi driver? So who lives here? Mr. Richards. And what is Mr. Richards? He is a taxi driver. This is the bank where I was robbed. We often visit our grandma in Norwich, which is in East Anglia. I want you to pay attention to one more thing over here. The relative pronouns come immediately after the noun. So see, after Mr. Richards, which is a proper noun, bank, which is a common noun, Norwich, which is a proper noun again. So in the previous example also, let us take a look. See, so everywhere the you can say pronoun comes after the relative pronoun comes after the noun. Okay, come on, let's move on and let's go to the next type of pronouns in this lesson, and that is interrogative pronouns. Now we have learnt about relative pronouns, and while teaching relative pronouns I've kept telling you about interrogative pronouns, so I guess it is easier now for you to understand. Interrogative pronouns is a very simple concept. So interrogative pronouns are what? They are just used to ask questions. So when words like whose, which, who, whom, what are used as part of a question, then they are interrogative pronouns. Simple, isn't it? And let us keep it simple only, let us not confuse it. And let us just remember that when these pronouns, whose, which, whom, what, are used in a sentence and an answer is not expected from you, then those are relative pronouns. And when an answer is expected, they are interrogative pronouns. Okay, even when you learn sentences, I think interrogative sentences are the easiest, because whenever there is a question mark, the sentence is interrogative. So an interrogative pronoun is used to introduce a question. Very simple. So what is the correct answer to the question? So what is the interrogative pronoun? Now you understood when what is used in after a relative in a relative clause, then that is a relative pronoun. But here it is used in a question, so it is an interrogative pronoun. Whose dog is running down the street? So here we are not talking about the dog, but we are talking about the person whose dog is running. To whom did you give my books? Okay, so this is simple, isn't it? After you understood relative pronouns, interrogative pronouns are very simple to understand. Moving on, let's go to an exercise involving interrogative pronouns. So here you have 12 questions, 6 I will solve for you and the remaining 6 is homework for you. So you are just supposed to add question words over here. So these question words are interrogative pronouns here. So see children, in grammar, especially in English grammar, certain things are very confusing. So you have to look at it according to the situation. Now see words like who, what, when, we have studied previously that these are all WH question words, isn't it? And here we are studying in one part of the lesson that they are relative pronouns. In another part of the lesson, we are studying that they are interrogative pronouns. But I'm sure that since you know the concept, you will also know the difference now. So let's see the first question. Dash is the President of India. Who is the President of India? Dash are these keys. Which are these keys? So are they the keys to the cupboard or are they the keys to the drawer? Dash shall we have for dinner? What shall we have for dinner? So you will get an answer. We will have khichdi, we will have dal chawal. So when an answer is expected, it is an interrogative pronoun. Or when it is part of a question, it is an interrogative pronoun. To dash did you write? To whom did you write? Dash birthday is it today? Whose birthday is it today? Dash is the number of the door. What is the number of the door? Okay, and the answer will always be a noun. So when you say who is the President of India, you will get a name there. Which are these keys? Again, you will get a name there. Okay, so these are interrogative pronouns. The remaining 6 is for you to do. So children, this lesson was a rather long one because we had too many points to cover, isn't it? We saw what the meaning of a pronoun is, and we also saw in detail what the meaning of 3 types of pronouns are. That is demonstrative pronouns. We saw along with a number of examples. Then we talked about relative pronouns along with a number of examples. While telling you about relative pronouns, I also told you about relative clauses, which were very important. It was a very important point at that particular point of time to understand. And then we also talked about interrogative pronouns. Okay, children? So that is all for today.
So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.